Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Sinke. I'm the Chief Business Officer here at Bittrex Global and the host of today's Ask Me Anything, or AMA. And today we're featuring RealFevr. And our guest is the CEO of RealFevr. His name is Fred Antunes. Fred, welcome to today's AMA. Thanks for joining us. We're excited about the partnership, and I think we're all here to learn a little bit more about RealFevr and the FEVR token. That's FEVR.
Hello, Chris. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you all.
Great. Okay, so for our AMAs, we typically source questions from the Bittrex global community as well as the broader crypto community. And we have a question that we'd like to ask every guest that comes on the show, which is around your origin story. It's personally my favorite question, which is how'd you get into crypto? When did you buy your first Bitcoin? And what led you to start or participate in RealFevr?
Yeah, well, regarding to me, I started deep in internet since 1996 when I had internet in my house for the first time. And back to 2004, 2005, I started to play World of Warcraft. And that's the reason why I've met Bitcoin. Because back to that time, after 2010, 2011, there was a website called Item Garden that we could mine Bitcoin while we were sleeping, and we could trade Bitcoin for gold inside World of Warcraft, and that's how I started. I didn't take that much serious because what I really wanted back in that time was gold inside World of Warcraft. But I started to take it serious in 2014, May of 2014 specifically, when I bought my first Antminers S3. And then back to 2016, I started the idea about the foundation of the Portuguese Blockchain and Cryptocurrency Association, which I'm still the president here in Portugal. And from then, I was always deeply involved. Regarding to RealFevr, I joined the company in 2019 as CEO. The company was founded in 2015 to bring the fantasy sports business from United States to Europe. But it is a fantastic tool to acquire users and increase the database of people around the company, but very hard to monetize in Europe. So that's why we shift the whole manpower to Web3, and we immediately started with the NFTs and the pack drops from the Portuguese national football or soccer in the United States league.
Oh, thanks for that background. And God, it sounds like you were one of the first people who's ever gotten real utility from Bitcoin, trading it for gold in World of Warcraft. That's an amazing story.
Yeah,
And I remember that game too. I loved it.
I wish I could have much more than what I had from that time.
Yeah. Are you one of those people that threw away the laptop after you
Not not, not to throw away the laptop, but back in that time we were so engaged with WoW that that was absolutely the most important thing in my life, and since 2005 up to 2012, 2013.
Well, let's talk more about the RealFevr team. Love to understand what the background of the team is, and if you can go into detail in any direction there on how the team came together, the experience that the team is really comprised of, what the core skill sets are, et cetera. I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, well, when I joined the RealFevr, most of the tech and the top management team was already here, and the CTO, he has a master degree in computer science, and he was working in the biggest Portuguese telecom company. And also another of the founders and still one of the full stack developers was also working in that telecom company. So in terms of background and the backend application, the company was very well supported. Then what I did was to bring on the table a hybrid team between technology, marketing, and business development. And basically today RealFevr has around 45 people working here. Most of them with graduations in what they are doing. But also, let me highlight this. One of the good things that I like to do personally, and that I believe, is to hire rookies, because when you bring very very talented people when they are finishing university and you give them the first opportunity, they come with the full power and not with that much already vicious things, let's say. So RealFevr team is a mix between senior people and junior people, but both of them fully talented in what they are doing.
And why the name RealFevr?
Yeah,
RealFevr. What's the
well,
story behind that?
the idea into sports is that the fever is exactly the emotion that if you consider something bad, you have fever when you have something wrong with your body, but the fever as a goodwill is when you are so hot and so excited with the product that you are completely engaged and involved with it. Because real fever would not be such a differentiation name, removing the e, you get the FEVR, and that was the name that would make sense for the whole product. And in fact, we were not thinking about that, but today we have also a perfect match because we want to explore the VR opportunity, and the real fever, the VR is already there. So it was a nice coincidence as the company is growing, but the idea of the real fever is really like people is so hot, engaged, super cool atmosphere that it generates you fever.
And then looking forward now, can you talk us through the RealFevr team's roadmap for the future? What do some of the upcoming milestones look like over the next year, 2 years, 5 years? What's
Yeah,
in
well, first of all, now we are going to do the next drops. So last year we did two. This year our planning is to do one per month starting in February. Of course, with new intellectual property that we already secured, and also new sports, not only football or soccer in the United States. But also we started the alpha stage of our play to earn game, which is a card game inspired in a mixture between Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering, which I think it's the only option for everybody who is involved into the NFT space. Because one of the biggest challenges that everybody is having at the moment, it's not something for the future, is for today, is the utility of the NFTs, what you can do with them besides bragging rights or speculative rights. So I really believe that our game will be a game changer for the industry in terms of the sports NFTs, and at the same time we'll position RealFevr as a first mover, especially compared to our biggest competitors. And at the third level, so first level, the next drops, and keep improving the whole platform with drop books, challenges, achievements, and whatsoever. But also the plate warning is the second stage in terms of company roadmaps, big milestones. But I cannot lie to you, I think the metaverse is a huge opportunity, especially into sports. And what we really have in mind is to explore this opportunity very very serious, and community and everybody around RealFevr should expect quite soon some news about it.
That sounds exciting. And as a follow up to that question, then I think it's a good segue. Many of the community members asked questions around staking and rewards in terms of getting involved. How do they get involved today in order to stake, earn rewards? And if not today, is that something that's on the roadmap for the future?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the challenges for FEVR token is, as long as we increase the product delivering and the product design to bring utility, of course, there is the traditional utility of each token. And in the case of FEVR, we also need to improve that. So last year, we started the feverstaking.com, where people can stake just in a traditional pool, fixed one with 3 months expiration time and a specific APR. But now we deployed last 2 weeks the FEVR staking festival. So basically, during this month, and part of February, we are deploying new pools. So we are keeping up the fixed pools. Now we are deploying the flex pools. And also, we want to stimulate people to provide liquidity both in PancakeSwap for Binance Smart Chain and Uniswap for Ethereum network. And because of that, if you provide liquidity, besides the fees that you get from trading, you are also able to stake the LP tokens in a specific pool for that. And in the case of the Ethereum network, we are trying to stimulate as much as possible the community with a super outstanding APR.
Fantastic. So that is, I think, going to do a lot to get people involved in the ecosystem and get people engaged. And okay, so let me look at our next question from our community. We got a lot on my list here. I'm trying to think about what I want to ask you, but let's go with this. So one of our community members asks, as this space becomes increasingly popular, we will surely see more and more projects pop up in this space. How does RealFevr plan to stay unique and competitive in this rapidly growing landscape?
Yeah, I think one of the key differentiation factors to other projects is the type of intellectual property that we can secure and we already have. So most of the projects, they will, of course, replicate the technology is not that hard for someone with the proper knowledge, but to acquire the intellectual property that we already have and the next intellectual property that we are about to secure, that is something that is a key differentiation factor. But also, I would highlight another key differentiation factor, which is, the reputation of the team. We never been involved in scams. We work every day, and in terms of the traditional business into sports, we are very, very well positioned. So, in RealFevr, everybody can go to our website, to our Telegram channels, or even to watch this podcast, and they realize that both the CEO or the CTO or the CFO or even the community managers and whatsoever, we exist. In fact, we are not hiding our faces just to create a rug pull and disappear in 6 months. No, that is not going to happen. So we are fully committed with what we are doing. We are fearless doers, I would say. And with that said, nothing will change the commitment that we have with our roadmap and to satisfy not only our personal ambition, but also the ambition of our current community.
Great, thank you for that. I'm looking through the list again to see what else looks good here. So let's talk about the RealFevr token in particular. So the token is FEVR. What is the primary role of the Fever token within the RealFevr ecosystem? How does it work? What's the utility value? And what are the relevant token economics that the audience should be aware of?
So first thing, all the packs that we sell in our platform, you need Fever to buy them. Quite soon, we will activate the secondary marketplace, not only with BNB, but also with Ether in a multi-chain environment, and of course with Fever. Also, now with the alpha stage of our play to earn, everything you do inside the game, you will need to have Fever to do that. And besides, of course, the facts of the staking. Also, in the next couple of weeks, eventually by the end of February, beginning of March, we are deploying the daily fantasy leagues played with Fever. So daily fantasy leagues is a both utility to our fantasy platforms because we have two mobile apps, both in App Store and Play Store. And, we want to convert the number of people that we have playing our fantasy platform, which are sports fans, traditional, but not connected to the crypto space. So the challenge is to provide Fever and use Fever to, besides the utilities that I already told you, but, for example, in African Nations Cup that is running at the moment, we have almost 100,000 people playing, but 99% of those guys, they're not connected to crypto at all, not even a MetaMask they have installed. So what we want is to stimulate this funnel of customer journey to migrate the people from the fantasy sports side in the company to the crypto space, and at the same time stimulating them with the daily fantasy leagues, which is a fantastic business opportunity that we can explore and is very cheap for us to deliver that kind of product. So of course everything we do is always around FEVR, and I expect people will appreciate what we are delivering around the ecosystem.
And as a follow-up to the question that I just asked, can you explain the structure of coin rarity and why this is important, if you didn't touch on that in detail already?
Yeah, in terms of the tokenomics and the whole process, one of the things that I would like really to speed up, but I cannot accelerate time, would be to distribute the tokens to everybody as fast as possible and have 90% of the full token supply already in circulation. But accordingly to our tokenomics, that will take at least 1.5 years. And there is tokens for team and shareholders, of course, tokens that we sold in a private sale and whatsoever. So at the moment, we are distributing the tokens not only in Binance Smart Chain, but of course also in Ethereum. And that's why the staking has better APRs in Ethereum than in Binance Smart Chain, because we want to distribute the users not only in Binance Smart Chain, but also to put them in Ethereum, and at the same time to explore the opportunity of Polygon, because it's very easy to everybody to move there. So in terms of tokenomics, first of all, we need 1.5 years more accordingly to the schedule and the vesting period that we have to have all the tokens in circulation. But also at the same time, every time we sell a drop, 40% of the revenue becomes locked according to the tokenomics, which also reduces the supply in terms of tokens in circulation. So I think the idea is, of course, to remove the tokens from circulation through a direct utility, not directly a burn mechanism, but also regarding to burn. And this is something that a lot of people ask us. We are going very soon to implement a natural burn mechanism into the platform, which will be a buyback and burn program. So eventually everything, it's not yet 100% decided and confirmed, but eventually the idea that we have is part of everything that is traded in fees in the marketplace will be immediately burned to increase the deflation of the token.
Great, thanks for that answer. And another one of our community members asked, I'm very new to the world of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. One of the first ever projects that I learned about was NBA TopShop. How does a project like RealFevr compare to NBA TopShop or others like it? And is that essentially just a basketball version of RealFevr? Are there more unique aspects to RealFevr?
I think in a superficial approach, we are like the TopShop for soccer. If we would be in the United States only, that would be the superficial approach. But if we move a bit deeper, in fact, the whole core business in terms of strategy and vision of the company is very different from Dapper Labs. So as you know, TopShop is a product of the company Dapper Labs. And what really makes the difference between RealFevr and Dapper Labs are two mainly points. The first one is we create products direct to consumer. So we are not creating our own platform, our own blockchain, our own ecosystem to scale up in a white level approach to everybody. No, we create products direct to consumer, and the right holders that they want to monetize their content in our platform, they can do it in less than 30 days. In Dapper Labs, their vision and their perspective is much more to create, the Amazon of Web3 in terms of cloud unit, but for blockchain through Flow Network. So this is the first major difference. The second one is I'm really a believer in terms of decentralization, and I want to give the options, the free will option to our users to decide what chain fits them better. So we have people that they prefer to pay less fees, but they don't care that much about decentralization. And for them, we have Binance Smart Chain or eventually Solana. But we have people that they really care about decentralization, and they don't care about paying like 40 or 50 or $60 for a transaction, because they want to have a guarantee that what they have is really secure. And for that ones, we have Ethereum. So compared to Dapper Labs and TopShop, you'll have a much more centralized approach. And if you go deep into what the NFTs are in Flow Network, it's really, really different from the kind of security and the kind of integrity that the NFTs in Ethereum have.
And can you speak to the concept of dynamic NFTs, NFTs that fluctuate based on external events, such as the sports that are played? And I actually am not familiar with how they would move based on sporting events, but that's really interesting. And do you think this could be the future of the NFT landscape, the dynamic NFT, or the NFT that provides rewards to holders?
Well, I'm not the guy who really defends, pay to have people on board. I think when you generate a valuable community, and pick the example of CryptoPunks, you need people that is engaged with the quality of the product that you have, and how interested are them as a sports fan, or in this case as a football fan. So for us, what we really care about is to guarantee that what our users have is precious and is secure, and it has integrity. And if you ask me about my vision for the future of NFTs, I think everything will rely in what kind of utility you can have with them. Of course, the utility part of it can be stake NFTs and be rewarded for that. But for me, I really would like to explore much more the approach of a new Web3 Magic the Gathering for football or for sports, than just to give the ability to the users to stake the NFTs and keep the speculation up. Because speculation, based in the basic of economics, there is always a limit for that. And the gaming approach is much more solid, is much more consistent, and guarantees much more the hyper growth future of RealFevr, which is in fact, as a CEO, my responsibility.
Another one of our users asked, I see NFT P2E game coming soon, play to earn.
Yeah.
Button on your website. Can you give us any more information about that button, and what does it mean? What's coming soon?
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm super excited at the moment. It has been a marvelous experience in the last 3 to 4 months to develop the game, and especially for me, that I'm also a collector of NFTs of RealFevr. I want to do something with them. So we started last week the alpha stage of the game. So 50 people will be eligible to start the internal version. And of course, their inputs, their considerations, their opinions will be very important, to improve the game roadmap development. And during the middle of February, we expect to increase that alpha stage to a beta stage, a private beta of 1,000 people. And then we are going to public beta. And after that, I would say in the beginning of March, middle of March, we are going to open the game worldwide in live production. So the game is very, very simple. It consists in the NFTs that you have to create a deck of it. You play against your friends, or you play against artificial intelligence, the computer. In the single player experience, it is a pure play to earn. So you play and you get FEVR token. And as you farm, more you get. And of course, in a multiplayer approach, in this first stage, it will be 1 versus 1. But 2 versus 2 and 5 versus 5 activating guild wars will be also a reality into the game. The game with the 40 cards, of course, you have a strategy. There will be a goalkeeper, there will be a defense line, and an attack line, and you play against each other. It will be much easier when we can do a live demonstration, and everybody will be super excited about it. I have no doubt about it.
And can you tell us about RealFevr's strategies to maximize the security of its users? I think for Bittrex Global, we pride ourselves on security. It's sort of what we're known for in the space. We've custodied over 1,000 assets since 2014, so we'd love to ask about this one and make sure the users' funds are safe. So anything you can speak to related to the security infrastructure you guys put in place, contract audits, etc., would be great.
Yeah, that is a fantastic question, in fact, because in crypto, most of the people, they don't care about security, and they buy tokens every day, they buy NFTs every day, they buy everything every day, and they don't do any kind of cybersecurity compliance or whatsoever. Eventually, some companies, they have audits regarding to their contracts, but in the end, even we have already a track record of that, contracts with 3 or 4 5 audits, and then they get hacked. The fact is, and has a track record in RealFevr since 2015 up to 2022, we have never been hacked in a critical stage or we have any kind of data leakages, both in our front end, back end applications, mobile applications, the whole IT infrastructure, and of course, the whole smart contracts that we have been coding. Up to today, we never had any kind of critical security problems. That is a fact. But the second thing is we try as less as possible to do any kind of custody of our customers' assets. And with that said, our whole platform, you have the full control option of your NFTs, of your tokens inside your MetaMask or Trust wallet. And sometimes people ask us, why do I need to mint an NFT? And most of them, they don't understand that when you mint and when you pay the fee for the minting, that is a guarantee that that NFT belongs exclusive to you. So that option is in our platform, crystal clear. And besides what we do internally, and our track record speaks for itself in terms of cybersecurity, we also activate the possibility to the users to decentralize as much as possible their assets, and of course have the full control of it.
All right. And so for our final question related to RealFevr, uh, how do you suggest users get involved in the project? What's the best on ramp? How do you want them to engage with the community to start?
Yeah, well, of course, everything relies also in the type of influencers that we have around us. And this podcast, of course, contributes to that communication that we need to do. But I'm really a deep believer in product. And as long as you keep developing your product and you don't give up and you don't lose the traction in terms of your personal motivation, time will always recognize that you have been doing a good job. So, of course, we have our marketing plans up, communicating and having the influencers on board with us. But much more than that, to create the hype, the empty hype, much more than that is to create, the strong, solid, and well sustainable hype. So for that, of course, we also need time. Bittrex was founded in 2014. Today we are in 2022. So it takes time to deliver the best possible product. And sometimes in crypto, everything happens too fast.
Yeah.
But as fast as we do, we are just increasing the risk of cybersecurity breaches, compliance problems, regulation problems, and whatsoever. And that is something that for me as the CEO, I want to be completely apart. So I want to guarantee that, especially with the new regulation in Europe, MiCA, markets in crypto assets,
Hmm.
we are fully compliant. We are not going to have problems with that. And for the next year, I would say that more than 75% of the crypto projects, they will be all illegal once MiCA is in charge. In the case
Wow.
of RealFevr, that will not happen. So it's not something that sometimes people can view directly, but or it is announced everywhere. But if you study just a bit more, you will understand that as long as regulation increases, RealFevr is fully prepared, to keep growing.
Yeah, we couldn't agree more with that. We feel like we're ahead of the curve as well. We are headquartered out of Liechtenstein and supervised by the Financial Market Authority under the TVTG, which is the Blockchain Act, and we're working very closely with regulators there to make sure that we're in a competitive position when it comes to adhering to the regulatory environment in Europe and abroad. And so I think that's really smart, and I'm glad to hear that you guys have done that. All right, so for my final question today, I think I asked you this when we met last time, but where do you see the industry going? Like from your perspective, and this is sort of a very open-ended question, what excites you about the next year, 2 years, 5 years? And it can be in your space or beyond. You can really take this question anywhere you want to go with it.
Well, I have a double answer. The optimistic answer of the entrepreneur and the guy obsessed for innovation, and the guy that is also a crypto holder and looks to the crypto space in a helicopter perspective. I'm going to give you the last one because it's very scary. I think we really need in the future to work hard to increase the level of digital knowledge and crypto knowledge from most of the people, because people today, they are addicted to meme coins, that they are pure scams, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that puts the whole industry in risk, to be
Yeah,
quite honest.
I agree. I agree.
So
Watching Shibu Inu go crazy, it scares me.
I go even to it's even worse, Chris, because Elon Musk, like a few days ago, he tweets like, if McDonald's accepts Dogecoin, he's going to eat a Mac menu alive. And McDonald's, the official account, replies with whatever meme coin that does not exist, and someone that we don't know who creates that coin, and immediately the coin pumps to 100,000%, because someone is buying it. So people need somehow, to distinguish between what is really a sustainable investment and what is just a scam that will disappear in just a couple of days or months. That is the first thing. But as an entrepreneur, and that's how I want to finish the podcast, and my answer is the optimistic perspective, which is Web3 is absolutely changing the rules of how we interact with each other daily basis. And in terms of perspective, I think both the gaming industry, both the opportunity in the metaverse, both the way that NFTs are going to be distributed with real use cases, even for the governments in the future, it's absolutely exciting to be alive during this period of mankind.
No, I can agree more. I wake up every day just excited to see how we can participate in how the world is changing right now, and it's amazing to be a part of it. And so I want to say on that note, thank you for joining us today. And I think we learned a lot about RealFevr and the FEVR token, which is available for trading on Bittrex Global. We're really excited to hear about the announcements in the future coming out of your camp and about continuing to extend this partnership. And so for our viewers that want to learn more about RealFevr, please go to www.realfevr.com. That's RealFevr.com. And thank you again, Fred, for your time today. And please extend our thanks to the entire RealFevr team.
Thank you very much for your time, Chris. And thank you very much for the community who has been watching us today and for those who are going to watch us in the future. Thank you.
Agreed. Yeah. Thanks, everyone, for watching.